growing up after school, I would always make myself ramen. And my sister one day like brought out these yellow Maggi masala instant noodles. And ever since that day, they've been probably my favorite instant noodle. I wanted to develop a recipe that was like similar to those and invoked that like nostalgic taste for me. Just like those Maggi instant masala noodles, there's like a very spice forward broth, and that like little spiciness and golden hue is just like really gorgeous. We're gonna start by seasoning 1 pound of chicken thighs. We're using bone-in and skin-on. That's gonna add a ton of flavor to the broth and also prevent things from like overcooking. I'm gonna season it with salt. I wanna give the chicken a chance to sit so that the salt sort of permeates and seasons the inside. We don't just want like a spicy broth, we also want seasoned chicken. The chicken skin and fat adds a ton of flavor to the actual broth. For the scallions, we're using a whole bunch, and I went with scallion because they're really easy to cut and I never cry. And then we've got 6 garlic cloves. We're just gonna thinly slice those. And to keep things fast, you definitely don't need to like chop them, and it's kind of nice to have them floating in there. For the ginger, I'm using 2 inches of ginger. I personally never peel my ginger, and I know that bothers people, but it doesn't have like a papery skin like an onion or garlic. So for me, it's not really bothering me. It's so thin and it's very fused on that it's almost like more effort than it's worth. The ginger is gonna not only flavor the broth, but ginger is one of those ingredients that like my mom and grandmother always made me eat when I was sick. I've got 3 carrots. Honestly, these do not seem like they need to be peeled to me, so I'm not gonna do it. They're not that dusty. I'm just gonna give them a rinse and that should be good. Carrots are super classic in chicken noodle soup. The sweetness of the carrots also plays really well with like the savoriness of the curry powder, so it's a good choice. You could also do sweet potato. You just would need to drop them a bit sooner since they take a little bit longer to cook than carrots. I want them to have like a nice visual presence in the soup, so I'm cutting them on the bias. I love lime. You could use lemon here, but we just want to brighten up the broth a little bit towards the end. I'm gonna put a pot over medium heat and heat up a tablespoon of olive oil. Now that the oil is like nice and heated up, we're gonna go in with our aromatic. That's the ginger, garlic, and scallions. I'm gonna season them with a little bit of salt to help draw out the moisture. And we're just gonna saute that for like 4 to 6 minutes to get some color on them. Browning equals flavor, so that's gonna help build the base of our stock. We have like some color forming on the bottom of the pan, and the garlic has a little bit of color around the edges too. So now this is the perfect time to add the curry powder. And we're using 1 tablespoon of curry powder. I love using curry powder for this because it's like a shortcut ingredient. It's got a ton of ingredients within it and it has so much flavor. There's cumin, coriander, cinnamon, fenugreek, all in that one spice blend. There's a ton going on. That's what really makes it the most similar to those instant masala Maggi noodles. I'm also gonna add some black pepper at this point. Once you can smell the curry powder, you know you're ready to add the broth, and that's going to help lift up all of that dark brown fond on the bottom. So we have 4 cups of chicken broth and 3 cups of water, and we're gonna bring that to a boil so that we can poach our chicken. So now that the stock is at like a rapid boil, we're ready to add the chicken. It's been sitting, we seasoned it earlier, so it's good to go straight in. We're using 1 pound of chicken, which is usually about 2 chicken thighs. We're gonna drop it in and drop the heat to medium so that we can maintain like a gentle simmer. You don't need to cook these aggressively. We're gonna let them go low and slow for like 18 to 22 minutes until they're fully cooked through. The chicken's been cooking at a gentle simmer. I can tell just by looking at it that it's cooked through, it's nice and firm. I'm gonna pull it and let it rest while we cook the carrots and the noodles. So all of the fat from the chicken has like rendered into the broth and it looks so good. I'm gonna add the carrots at this point and let them go for like 3 minutes before we add the noodles. So for the noodles, I'm using fresh wheat noodles. So we're using ramen today. You could use a dried ramen noodle as well. We're using 8 ounces. You don't wanna use a noodle that's gonna take longer than like 4-5 minutes to cook because they're gonna absorb too much of the stock and release too much starch. And you'll end up with something that's like thicker and stodgier, and we still want this to be like a brothy noodle soup. These are gonna take like 2-3 minutes to cook, which is the perfect amount of time for these guys to sort of wilt down a little bit in there. So we're adding all of those scallion batons. I'm just gonna stir a little bit to loosen up the noodles, and that looks great. I'm gonna set a timer for 2 minutes, which is how long this particular brand takes, but it'll be anywhere from like 2 to 4. So I'm just gonna discard the skin. It's a little bit like rubbery since we poached the chicken. And you can do this with 2 forks or your fingers. You can see like the chicken is very tender and juicy, and that's just because we cooked it really low and slow. And then you just wanna shred it into, I like larger pieces, but whatever you prefer. The larger pieces are nice because you can really taste the chicken. I do feel like it is easier to do with like the help of your hand. The 2 forks thing kind of frustrates me. That's the last of it. So I'm doing about a tablespoon of lime juice to start. That's like usually half of a lime. I personally find that the lime juice pairs really well with the curry powder. Ooh. Honestly, it doesn't need more salt. It's perfect. It's nice and bright. A tablespoon of lime juice is just how I like it. I just love the color of the stock. It's so pretty. It's got like that gorgeous golden hue from the curry powder. I'm gonna get some carrots and some of those scallion greens too. Ooh. And then I'll go in with some noodles as well. And then I'm just gonna top it with some of those pieces of shredded chicken. And to finish, I just like to add a little bit of extra black pepper and then a little bit of extra lime too. And that's it. This is my gingery chicken noodle soup. It's so good. It's warming. It's bright from that like lime juice right at the end, and it's really well balanced overall. It's super savory and really flavorful. As intended, it does remind me of those Maggi instant masala noodles, but it just feels more like a substantial, wholesome dinner now. If you're sick or cold and you're craving something really comforting and warming, this is a really great option.